Welcome back, my fellow duplicants, to the Ultimate Automation Challenge. And in the last episode here, we got the plastics up and running. We've got steam, we've got water. We're going to try to pipe this stuff in and make good use of it. But today's going to be more about exploring. I want to see what's up in the map. I have not explored what's up in the map, so I want to get up, start to work on some of that space content because I think that's going to be pretty cool. So I've got a little bit of an investigative dig that's going to go on here, and we're going to explore the different areas in this map to see what all I have to work with. I've also got a giant clearing project over here, which we will then clear out, and I'll be able to use it for more things, such as increasing the cold biome and stuff like that. We'll also be working on this a little bit over here. There's been some good ideas. One of them actually being, a couple of people had the idea when looking at my cooling loops over here to make them top to bottom over the thermal nullifier instead of left to right. And I think that's actually a good idea because then I could probably set the same temperature on all of them since I was having to stagger them last time. So I think Tate was one of those people, yes, and Brad, and there was a couple others. Sparta Leon. So yes, I'm going to rearrange this so that hopefully they can work all together. I think that's a good idea. The other thing is I don't think I need 3 polymer presses. I probably can get away with just 1 or maybe 2 if I need to do a big run one day. I should probably bring in some more hydrogen. You guys were talking about that as well. So many things I can do to kind of improve this. I also want to continue to expand this larger and larger so that I can kind of use it for things like storage and all of that fun stuff. And since I was like up till 5:30 last night playing Wreckfest with my friends, fun game, I'm going to be hitting the caffeine pretty hard today, so if things get crazy, now you know why. Okay, so here's the other things that I have going on here. I loaded this game up and just started to plan things out for a little while. I'm going to be bringing the water from my steam geyser right over here, and I'm going to bring it in right next to what is my metal refinery, which is actually just going to go away because I already have 2 refineries down here, so I don't need multiple. However, that system was already set up to handle hot water because what it does is it runs through a sink or a shower or something like that, and then it goes through a sieve where the temperature gets dropped down. So I don't have to worry about it being hot. So I'm just going to bring it in, a giant abyssalite pipe, to run over here and then just go right in, which will completely clear this area out over here, which I might use for like the grand central station for my transportation system. So as I'm digging up, I'm going to follow this abyssalite seam. So we'll go right up here, then over, and then back up, and just kind of snake my way up there. And I'll just be building the ladder out of abyssalite as I go. That way I can get it done fast. Jason mentioned over here a good observation is that I'm continuing to add more and more steam to this environment, and the problem with that is that the temperature is just going to continue to go up and up. Now I have a giant amount of water, but as I start to pump some of this water out, I need a way to actually condense this steam down into liquid so that, you know, I can start building up more and more water. It doesn't matter if it's hot, I just need a way to actually drop that temperature down so that it isn't constantly above 100 degrees Celsius, which is kind of what's going on right now. You can see there's several kilograms of steam, and then every time I open this door, that steam's going to rush out. So I think one thing I can do, just to kind of make this work a little bit better, is I can just go ahead and put like a little airlock right there. That way it takes a little longer to go through this, and a lot of steam doesn't try to escape. That's one thing, but I want it to be able to condense. So to do this, what I can do is do like an iron door right there, and then if I find a way, temperature-wise, you can see the temperature here. It's kind of already hot. I could just do something where I hook it up to this. That's one idea. And then pump just a little bit of petroleum through there to kind of cool one spot of steam down to kind of condense that. The other thing is I could probably do like a thermal shift plate right here and just kind of let this door do the condensing for me. A bit like it's doing right now because it's warming up. So this is where the liquid is dropping down. And you can see by putting that here and keeping it cool, that maintains well, almost a vacuum. There's a little bit of oxygen there, but if it was full of steam and I just condensed it, then it would turn into a vacuum. And that's one way to generate a vacuum quite quickly, if you fill a room with steam or something like that, and then just pump out so that the room is completely full of steam and then condense it down and you end up with a vacuum. In the video game. The reason for that is because the actual temperature at which things phase change is not dependent on the actual pressure inside of this game. Those of us that play this game for a long time know that, but, you know, in real life, depending on your pressure, it kind of changes when things happen. And that is usually described in a phase change diagram. We're getting very scientific now. Look at this. So you can see at different pressures, things might be a solid, a liquid, or a gas. You know, and it's a combination of pressure and temperature. In oxygen not included, pressure is disregarded to make it a lot more simple, and I think makes the game a lot easier to run. I would imagine. Not to mention a fair bit more simple to actually play. And then if I put a thermal sensor right here's good. So just to take a look at the temperature here, down in this area where I'm generating a lot of oxygen, you can see it's starting to become a little bit cooler down there. We've got some things that are about 25 degrees Celsius, which is good because that's what I've set it to. And up here, right around 25 as well. So if I take a look at the liquid, ooh, it looks like this one I was able to build up a pretty good batch before it cycled through. And I'm seeing this stuff hold on quite a bit longer here. So as this runs, it'll become, you know, more and more backed up, which is good. Just like this. This will be really useful. Which means I might want to bring some more into the loop at this point. Now, one of the things that's going on down here is I'm actually pumping out quite a bit of crude oil. I've dug down here to kind of get access to more of it, but I'm going to need to continue to investigate. So I've already kind of dug down here just to see what I have available over here to the right. And what I'm finding is that I have a lot of areas that are just like open space. So I might have to start playing the game in such a way that I'm converting carbon dioxide now into crude oil, which is actually completely possible because of the amount of coal I've been generating. You know, I'm to the point where I'm just like drowning in coal, almost. Not quite, but I could continue to ramp that up, and then coal can become carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide goes through a slickster, becomes crude oil, and then I can refine it and use it for all sorts of good stuff. Yeah, look at coal. 83.3 tons. Dirt, I still have 190 tons, so I'm in good shape, actually. So in order to rework this system over here, I'm going to get rid of that top polymer press. Maybe just keep the bottom one, or maybe keep the middle one. And then I'm going to take, you know, these radiant liquid pipes here. However, I do need to be able to put a sensor on it. So I can't just build it right over the thing. I suppose I can. Let's see how conductive this tile is. It's crap. Never mind. We'll see what happens. I'll come up with something over there. I don't even know where... Oh, it's ice. It's got to be ice. Half the time I'm just like, where's the water coming from? I think it'd be pretty neat to finally make it to the top and just build like a space station up there. And that's where all my duplicants live, and then they just like commute via like transit tubes or something down here to do the work. So they kind of move out of this room and move into like a pretty neat area up there. Yeah, so look at the temperature now. Now it's starting to even out a little bit more. You got things right around 30 degrees Celsius. I'm starting to cool it down over here. This area up here, look at that. Look at how nice that is. Alright, so since I'm trying to dig really far up, the pathing gets very, very long. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an outhouse up here. And then next to that, I'll put a little terrarium. And this will just be temporary. I'll get rid of it eventually. This will just give me a midway spot to stop when I'm digging upwards. Oh, Bubbles, did you get yourself stuck again? Of course you did. Why would I expect anything different? But what I got is this nice little wheezewort, and I'm going to put this wheezewort right here, hopefully. One of the questions that actually led to the previous video that I just uploaded was, why don't I use wheezeworts to cool this base? And the reason is because I wasn't automating them. So it was kind of a passive way, and this is an ultimate automation challenge. However, I found a way to automate the flower pots over here. I made a video on that, so you can check that out. But essentially, spoiler alert, all it takes is a sensor right next to it, so a thermometer or a thermal sensor right there, and then you can connect that to a mechanized airlock, and that will enable or disable the flower pot because the base will either be there or it won't be. So if I set this sensor here to be below 25 degrees Celsius, then the door will remain closed. But, you know, let's say this cools down enough, it'll actually open up this door, and that shuts off the wheezewort. Alright, so it's time to wrangle these little hatches up, and I'm going to release them back into the wild down here. And they will go around and eat a lot of slime, hopefully, and it'll be really useful. Where in the world are you going? Taking the longest route possible to anywhere you need to go. Meep's like, I got all cycle, man. I can do what I want. I'm not sure why I didn't make this out of plastic. I have lots of plastic. Yeah, see this big old pipe here, despite having loads and loads of oxygen down here, I mean 1.6 kilograms, I still end up with, you know, hydrogen up here kind of stuffing up the pipe. So, speaking of areas of incredibly high oxygen, over here I'm experiencing an area of over 16 kilograms of polluted oxygen. And down here in this enormous area of just polluted oxygen, this is all like 3 kilograms. It's huge. Suffocating to death should be my last problem, unless I make a big mistake. Now look at how much cold hydrogen I have now. All of that. And then it's getting backed up over here, and since that has now determined that this system is full, all of this hydrogen that's flowing through here just gets redirected to the thermal nullifier. And since I've pumped in so much heat with all of that petroleum, this thing is basically just running continuously at this point. Not to mention, you know, we got a polymer press and whatnot in there. Looks like I found an area with a lot of bleach stone in it. No new geysers or anything just yet. I mean, I have dug up quite a ways, if you kind of look back. You know, I've gone all the way down here, all the way to the left, so I can't be too far away from the surface at this point. I can hear thumping up there. It must be getting hit by meteorites at this point. I see my very first sign of the surface here. A little bit of regolith up here, so it's pretty, and then there's a bunch of steam around that as well. Gosh, look at how hot that is up there. But what do we have here? Ooh, 1, 2, 3, 4. Bunch of neutronium. Next to it is steam. 70-something kilograms. I feel like this might be another steam geyser. Man, it's so hot, this algae is just about ready to melt. Cracked abyssalite? Holy moly. Well, look at it. It's 3,000 kilograms. How's the temperature doing? Oh, yeah. That's starting to look quite a bit better. Alright, well, I'm going to need to be quite careful over here that I don't accidentally vent everything I have into the atmosphere or something like that. That would be bad. Although I do have quite a bit of stuff I could vent for, so it'd probably take quite a while to do anything. But let's take a look. See if we can get up there. Get a little bit better view to see what's going on. And of course we got to see what, you know, what is over here. Yeah, there it is. The vacuum of space. Come on, Bubbles. Keep digging. You can do it. Uh-oh. I know it's a little toasty. Just hold on. You'll be fine, Bubbles. Look at all of these Dracos over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Dracos. 8. So many Dracos. I think I even saw a plastic one in there somewhere. Oh! Watch out, Bubbles! Oh, come on. Just one more spot. I want to see what's behind that. I have no idea what's behind that. It didn't tell me. Come on, Max. Max, where are you going? Come on, poke the volcano. You know you want to do it. Bubbles is on it. She's going to go poke that volcano. She's got some moderate wounds, though. Kind of was cooked to death. No, come on. Get back up there. Darn it. What are you doing? Oh, you just had to use the bathroom. I understand. Sometimes you got to go. Yes! It's a volcano! Alright, so this was kind of a bad place to go without an exosuit. For starters, it's way too hot, and you can also be struck by a meteorite. Oh, and if you're not careful, a volcano might go off right next to you, and that'd probably do you in. So I think I'm going to go ahead and cancel any ability to come up here and dig around anymore. We did make it to the surface, though, so that's good. I will go ahead and just make a door right here, just in case like a meteorite strikes right there. I don't want it to constantly like create this big old funnel where it's sucking out all of the oxygen in my base up this ladder. And I'm also going to disable this because I don't really need it. And disable that because you don't need to visit it. Wow, Gossman is so fast at building. Construction 12. That's why. Bubbles is even faster though. 15. Wow! Man! This is really dangerous. There's a good chance this might end up completely exposed. Oh, never mind. I guess it just filled itself back in there. Lucky me. So what am I going to do with a volcano way up here? Oh, wait a minute. Somebody sent me a link for a calculator for the volcanoes. Where was that? Okay, so here it is. Stephen Will. There's a calculator to tell you how much a particular geyser puts out. Alright, so let's take a look at this. This is actually pretty neat. So if I use a cool steam vent, and that is 5,500. Eruption period to 57. Ha! There we go. So, cool steam vent. Here's the details. Better than 36% of the same type of geyser. Actual average output per second, I think, is what we have here. It's 1.24 kilograms a second. Store, I'm not exactly sure what they're talking about there. How many tiles per cycle? If it's at 20 kilograms. So then it also gives you some other things, like how many bristle blossoms it can actually power up and stuff like that. So 37, sleet wheat, 37 as well. Pinch pepper plants, 20. Thimble reeds, those things actually take quite a bit. You can run an electrolyzer all by itself. That's good. Neat. That's pretty handy. I'll have a link to this one in the description below. Alright, well I think that does it for me today. That was pretty interesting. All the way up here to the surface. And we can see that it looks like it's a pretty dangerous place. Crazy volcano. Might be able to do something with it. Probably going to become a steam generator of some sort. And maybe get some power out of it that way. Otherwise, I gotta pump like crude oil from all the way down here. Or whatever. I don't know. We'll figure it out. There's never a lack of ideas. I didn't really make a whole lot of progress on the cooling loop thing over here on the left. Except for that it is continuing to work and the base is operating at a relatively cool temperature now. Or at least a much more reasonable temperature. So, it's good to see that that's worked out. At some point here, I'm going to have to start working off something besides mealwood, just to kind of, I don't know, give my dupes something a little bit nicer to eat. I think a couple of bristle blossoms would be a good thing. Maybe a pinch pepper plant here and there. Yeah, maybe a couple nice farms to set up, especially if we're just going to use a wheezewort to kind of keep it just right. At any rate, that's all I got for you today. If I've earned your subscription, then thanks so much for that. Have a great day, guys. Stay awesome. Peace. Brothgar out.